Welcome to Awaken Your Soul's Unlimited Potential. My name is Eva, and as always, I'm so happy to have you here with me. And today I want to talk about judgment. And why I want to talk about this is because I had a very interesting conversation quite recently with my cousin who completely changed my perspective about a certain topic by explaining it so beautifully. And this is something that I have been judging incorrectly for such a long time because I had actually misunderstood this particular topic, or let me say group, because we were just talking about a certain group. I had actually misunderstood this group for such a long time, and once my cousin actually sat me down and explained to me this group's beliefs, their ideologies and all that, and their practices, I actually got to see that the practices that they believe in, not all, but a lot of the practices and the beliefs that they have are things that I actually believe in my own life and actually practice on a day-to-day basis. And I will never have discovered that had I never had a conversation with my cousin, had I actually not got curious to sit down and actually humble myself, not come from an ego perspective of thinking that I know it all, because I really did not. And I could have easily gone that route if I had chosen to, because again, this is something that I believe for a major part of my life, because the stories I was hearing from everyone were very biased. But actually sitting down with this person and actually getting to hear it from their perspective, it really opened my eyes in such a beautiful way. And I actually started changing my mind on, how I had actually misunderstood this group and in such a negative way. And this got me thinking that, when it comes to the ego, right, especially in this world that we're living in right now, everyone has their own opinions, right? Everyone has their own perspective. Everyone has their own views on how they think that life should be. And the minute that other people go against your worldview or your perceived notion of how life should be, the world we live in, it judges those people so harshly, right? Because it's always like, you don't believe in what I believe in, so you're wrong, I'm right. You deserve for this to happen to you, and I deserve to be viewed at a higher status because I believe this. And what I want to share with you is that the lessons I'm actually learning with judgment is this. One, if God or the universe, whatever you believe in, right, if God thought the way us humans thought, if he was as judgmental as us, do you really think that the world will be existing right now? If you woke up one day and decided that, all of you who do not believe in this, I'm done with you, you will no longer exist. How many of us will actually survive that? A lot of us will not survive that because, and it depends on whatever religion you believe in, or whatever beliefs you have. Different religions believe that the only path to God is by following a certain set of rules. Each religion has their own rules. But if God woke up one day and decided that a certain section was wrong and decided to destroy all those people, where will these other people be? And it got me thinking that if God can give us grace and free will to be who we want to be, and still love us and still accept us even when we mess up in the worst way possible. Something that I've had so many times in the spiritual communities is this statement that, when you're looking at it from a human perspective, a mother and a child, it doesn't matter how many times a child messes up, that child will never cease to belong to the mother, right? And for a lot of mothers here, right, it doesn't matter, even if your child committed the worst crime ever imaginable, it's very difficult for a mother to actually turn their back against their child. They will still love their child no matter what, because this is something that's part of them. It's a biological, it's a very deep connection, a mother and a child. And when you look at that, if humans are actually capable of having that kind of unconditional love, can you imagine the kind of love that actually comes from God, which is way higher than whatever we have for us, right? Because he's all that there is, right? So if at all we are capable of exhibiting that kind of unconditional love within our own human species, can you imagine the kind of love that God has for us? So how I want to relate this to judgment is that if God gives us grace to let us be who we, to choose our own paths, to choose our own experiences, and regardless of how many times we mess up and all that, He still loves us, He still accepts us, He never turns His back on us, then why, at what point do I sit down and say that you were wrong for being you? You know, if I'm given that kind of grace to be myself, to follow my own path, to follow my own beliefs, no judgment, no rejection from God, why can I not extend the same kind of consideration to the people around me and let them choose their path? I'm still gonna love them, I'm still gonna accept them regardless of whatever path that they choose. Because how I want you to look at it is that what right do we have to judge? If at all the person who created us does not judge us, accepts us as we are, still thinks we're enough, still thinks that we're worthy of being here, even with all the mistakes we make on a daily basis. Okay? That's how I want you to look at judgment. If you're given that kind of grace from God, give that grace to other people. Let people be. Don't assume that the world has to abide by your own perceived perspective just because, you know, this is how I believe the world should be, so everyone should follow me. No, let people follow their own path. Let people find their own paths to the destination that we're all heading to. We don't always have to follow one path. We can choose different paths, but we'll all end up in the same destination at the end of it all. The second thing I want you to look at is that it doesn't matter what kind of experience that anyone chooses. You know, it could be different from, or it could be different from the kind of experience you choose, but it doesn't make it wrong. Like I was saying before, it doesn't matter if someone chooses to go the longer route to get to the destination. At the end of it all, you're still gonna meet there, regardless of how long it takes them. It doesn't mean that their route it's wrong, right? And what I want you to look at is that if that particular soul chose that experience, there's a reason for that. If they're choosing the longer scenic route to get to the destination, there's a reason for that. You don't know the reason. You can only identify the reason if at all you actually live their experience. A lot of us have this tendency of saying that, this statement of, or if I was that person, I would never make that decision, right? And I've been guilty of that in the past, right? But what I came to realize is that unless you've actually walked a mile in someone's shoes, you do not know what you'd actually choose when you're in that moment. So what I choose to say nowadays is that I don't know what I'll do. I'll have to be in that circumstance, facing the same kind of experiences for me to actually determine, will I choose the same path that this person chose, or will I go different? But it's very easy for you, when you're standing on the outside, for you to judge and say that I will never do what you did, because you haven't actually walked a mile in those shoes. You haven't gone through those experiences. So it's easy for you to judge. You find that for a lot of people, you know, when you meet people who've gone through the kind of experiences that you've gone through, they tend to be more loving and more accepting and more understanding of you. You know, an alcoholic being among other alcoholics, they know the struggle. They know how difficult it is for you to pull yourself from those depths of drug addiction. They know how difficult it is. So they give you so much grace and so much understanding. Right? That's why when it comes to healing, you don't heal when you're with people who've never been alcoholics before. You heal among people who are alcoholics, who are going through the same journey with you, so that they can actually provide for you a space to allow you to fail, to allow you to succeed, to support you either way. And that's the kind of environment that we need to create in the entire world, where we allow people to just be. We don't just judge them as just because of one stupid mistake they made in their worst moment. We allow them grace to fall as many times as possible, but still hold them, give them space, not to encourage them to continue going down the wrong path, because that's completely different. No, but make it clear that if they need support in getting better, that you're never gonna turn your backs on them. You will never support whatever maybe wrong path that they have chosen for, if at all they're heading down the wrong path. And by wrong path, I'm meaning like something like maybe pursuing criminality, because of course if you're going against the law, like, come on, we can't support that, right? But still, give them a space to realize that, fine, maybe you have chosen this path. It doesn't mean that I'm going to hate you or stop loving you for that. If for whatever point you decide to make a different choice for yourself, I'm going to provide space for you to help you grow and help you tap into that for yourself. Right? I'm not going to judge you and condemn you to the worst possible pain because of a mistake that you made. And that's the culture that I want to preach for everyone. Let's stop judging each other. If at all, actually, if you have, maybe you're judging something right now, I'd encourage you to actually go do your research on it, because you might actually discover that a lot of the judgments that you have are actually, you might have actually misunderstood a lot of things because you haven't really understood the entire perspective of that person. And this can all be changed by just sitting down and actually having a conversation with this person. If the conversation is not possible, actually sitting down and having research. Stop relying on all these things you hear from everyone, because trust me, everything you hear in the world is coming from people with their different perspectives and all that, trying to force them on you, try to make them acceptable, forgetting that this view is coming from their own lived experiences, right? They've lived certain experiences, they have this particular perspective, but that could actually be different from what this other person has experienced. So the minute you keep on now listening to every other person and you haven't actually sat down to understand the particular matter, you'll be easily influenced by other people's biases. So I encourage you to actually sit down. Instead of judging, seek to actually understand. Why is it that you feel that you're judging something to be wrong or whatever? Have you actually understood why you're judging it to be wrong? If you have valid reasons for that and you're like, okay, fine, I don't agree, then make an informed decision of, I do not support this because of this and this and this. But don't just assume that it is wrong just because you based on hearsay, okay? So for now, I'm gonna end my video for now. And I'm sending you so much love. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet subscribed, and also click on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any content I share out here. Download my quantum flow meditation down in the description box if you would like to tap into inner states of peace, bliss and peace within a couple of minutes. Sending you so much love, and I hope I will get to see you on the other side one day. See you on the next video. Bye for now.